welcome. How's everybody doing? So, as always, I am here with Trevor,
That's me. Hey, what's up, everybody?
and we are back once again for another nOw podcast. So, I'm going to let some people trickle in really quick, and then we're going to hop into it. Trevor, how did you feel about wrestling this week?
There was some really good stuff. There was then below stuff. Won't say what was what yet, but
Typical. All right. So, who's all here? We got Gravity, Locke, Thunderbird is here. How's it going, Thunderbird? And Ty.
The
Okay.
NAW Universe Nerd Acumen Wrestling.
I'm gonna go ahead and host myself really quick. Okay, so you took a nap and set an alarm to make sure you made it here. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate your sacrifices.
Okay, come on.
Ty, thank you for the host.
That is effective.
All right, so what we're gonna do is the week in wrestling this week, starting on May 3rd to today. We had a Raw on Monday as usual. That was May 3rd. Do you have anything you would like to say before we really get into it about Monday Night Raw?
Can they step up their game? This is once again the
I
weakest
don't
show
think
of the
so.
week.
Thunderbird, thanks for the host. Yeah, I mean that's something that we're starting to. I mean I really can't say starting to because it's been this way probably for a couple of years now. Probably since like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, they've had a few times where it's like, oh, that was a really good show, and then other times like there was a couple good matches, maybe.
Ty said Monday Night Raw is 3 hours of pain and sadness. Yeah, and it has been for a while. But we still show up for it. I mean, I show up late. I always watch it recorded.
Yeah, that's what I do. I record all of them and then skip through the commercials.
Yeah, I mean, the only things I really watch live, sometimes NXT, sometimes AEW, but SmackDown and Raw, not at all. And then pay-per-views, of course. Of course, we're going to watch those live every time. I'll take reasons I stopped watching altogether for 1,000.
I mean, you could watch the other stuff, Lock, AEW, and NXT
NXT.
are like really good.
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown has been decent.
SmackDown has been extremely decent. All right, so we'll hop right into it. Noob, how's it going? So, as I said, May 3rd, we had Monday Night Raw. We have less than 2 weeks before WrestleMania Backlash. Yes, WrestleMania Backlash. That is going to be on May 16th. So 1 week from today. So next week, our podcast will be on Monday, not on Sunday. Whenever we have a pay-per-view, we're going to shift ahead one day. WWE was so bad when I quit that it spoiled pro wrestling for me entirely. I've been loving SmackDown. Yeah, I mean that's how everybody's been basically. All right, so we did have AJ Styles and Omos versus New Day for the Raw tag team titles. It was another squash match that showed Omos as a powerhouse. How did you feel about this match?
It was a decent match. It wasn't the exact same match they just had, but I mean, exact same results.
I did
So-
enjoy the phenomenal forearm from instead of the ropes. He went ahead and did it off Oma's shoulders, which that was a nice little touch. Um, but I mean, it was kind of it was more of a squash match this time
Yeah,
than
I mean it's going to be a
Mania
Monday Night
was.
Raw match. So,
Yeah.
but the three out of those four guys are top top of the line. I mean,
Hmm.
Omos is new, so you can't say he's good or bad really yet. The second match
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see some more from him throughout the weeks. I'm assuming. Hopefully, we get to see more movement from him. Because when he does move, he looks. I mean, he looks like a typical big man. But I feel like he seems to have a little bit more athletic ability than most big men. So I'd like to see how evolved he actually is.
Yeah, working with AJ should help him too,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
AJ is one of the best.
Ty
Not just
said
now,
they're
ever.
making him look invincible. It's so bad. Yeah, I mean, whenever you make somebody look completely invincible, like the Fiend, it happened to the Fiend as well. He looked completely invincible, and then you kind of just had to bury him in kind of a bad way, uh, and then eventually have him get squashed by Goldberg with just a spear, which
Or
that's
Orton was one
yeah.
RKO.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's gonna get to the point where he's gonna be so invincible that they're gonna have to shut it down fairly quick, like they did with the Fiend. Anytime they make a monster like this, that's what they have to do. So next up, we had Charlotte Flair versus Dana Brooke. Of course, let's see here. I don't know if we announced last week or was it announced this week that
I think it was
Charlotte
this
Flair,
week.
yeah, Charlotte Flair has been added to the Raw Championship match. So that will be a triple threat between her, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley.
Yay. No. No. Boo. Boo. I mean, I don't hate Charlotte, but
No, I mean,
let's give other people just some time.
how's it going, Redbeard? Yeah, so I mean, we got another typical Charlotte Flair promo, basically saying that the roster needs her, the women's division needs her, she doesn't need it. Um, and then she does get added to this match, making it a triple threat. We all kind of saw it coming, but now we're here. So
Ty did predict it last week
he did.
in the chat.
So let's see here. After this, we had Damian Priest versus John Morrison. So the Miz came out with John Morrison for this match against Damian Priest. They gave a promo, basically talking bad about Priest for being a child in the previous week, um, and then it was pretty much Damian Priest from there.
Yeah, I think they just need to end this feud. Hopefully, Backlash is
Yeah, and I mean, I
the
think
end of it.
I think this needed to be ended probably at WrestleMania after Bad Bunny left. It's not doing anything for Damian Priest anymore, and honestly, it's kind of played out. Even though it's only been going on for a month and a half.
Like
Uh,
Noob said, I think Morrison and Miz should split up too.
yeah, and that's how most people feel. Um,
And I like them both, but I want Morrison to go on to do more. I mean,
yeah,
I like Miz a lot, but I don't see him going back to the world title right now after he just got it and then lost it the next
no,
week.
no. Um, did you watch the 24 on Miz at all? The documentary.
I have not.
It's pretty good. But it talks about him winning the world title again and teaming with Morrison again. It's pretty good. If you get some spare time, I would suggest watching that on Peacock.
I like them as a team. I just think it would be a good story for them to break up and
No, and
then
I
do
mean they need to.
singles.
I do think Miz probably needs to go back to the Intercontinental scene. He does make that championship. He makes any mid card extremely relevant anytime he has those titles.
Yeah.
And Morrison, we've seen what he can do on the Indies in the past couple of years. I mean, we saw what he could do in WWE prior to that, but he's elevated his game by a large margin. So hopefully we do get to see him branch out. And I don't think they're gonna. They're probably not gonna shoot him to the moon. But I mean, get a little bit of a push from him, see how he can do in that single scene. I would honestly love to see Morrison in an NXT type environment. I think he would flourish.
Yeah.
So let's see. Next up, we had Lucha House Party versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. This is officially the end of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. As Cedric Alexander, after they had lost, he had basically said how Shelton Benjamin's been in the company this long, never had a world title, he's never going to. And basically that he's holding Cedric back. So Cedric is now leaving to go back to the single scene. I do hope we get to see something out of Cedric. I don't. What I'm thinking is going to happen, honestly, is that both these guys are going to get shuffled back into that jobber role. It's just not going to be good for either of them.
Yeah. I mean, they were good as a tag team. I don't think they've just crapped on them because that's what they do with any team that's any good. Let's break them up. That's their ideal for all the tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break them up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not how it should be.
The last few weeks, they've went from world champs to jobbers. Like, overnight, like 1 week. Losing to Lucha House Party is...
Ty said it's sad that it seems funny you're saying Morrison elevated his career because I don't see it. And that's a shame. I mean, if you watched his run in Impact or if you watched Lucha Underground, anything in the past 5 years that Morrison has done, he's knocked it out of the park. World champion in both places. Absolutely killing it at this point in his career. WWE just doesn't. I mean, he's not a big, strong man, so he's really not going to get that push in WWE. I mean, as soon as he came back, he was partnered back up with The Miz. Even though he was killing it, he was just a title collector in the Indies before he came, kind of like Kenny Omega is doing now. Johnny Drip Drip. Let's see. Oh, man. Next up, we had Drew Gulak versus Angel Garcia. Garza picks up the win. But after the match... Thank you for the host, Batman. Garza takes a rose, puts it in Gulak's pants at his butt, and kicks the rose up Gulak's ass. Yes, he took a rose and kicked it up Gulak's ass. That's all I have to say about that.
This match wasn't good because it wasn't given much time because both these guys are decent, if not a little better than decent. And if they had had more time, it could have been a decent match. But
yeah,
short.
I mean, it was short. Both these guys can put on a hell of a match, but they weren't given any time. And then the end of the match, after not giving them time, you're gonna have a rose getting shoved up somebody's ass. Not the move, not the wave. Next up, we had RK Bro versus Elias and Jackson Riker. So earlier in the night, Elias and Jackson Riker see the New Day backstage. They went ahead and had a bucket of tomatoes. They were getting ready to throw them at the New Day. The camera cuts so you see just them. They start throwing, and then it cuts back, and they hit nothing but Randy Orton. So we do have RK Bro taking on Elias and Jackson Riker. Of course, RK Bro picks up the win. And honestly, I like how much chemistry these guys have together. It feels like they have a lot of chemistry right now so early.
Yeah, they work well together. And hi, Batman. Sorry, I think we missed that in the chat.
Hi, Batman. Well, I thanked him for the host.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, their chemistry for how long they've been together is way better than they should be.
Yeah, I really like this team, even though I'm not a fan of Riddle's character. He's been better lately because he's been trying to be more funny and not just bro everything. I mean, he still does the bro thing, but
Randy
he's
and Riddle are
trying to be a
like
little
Dunn
bit
and
funny.
Riddle. Kinda. A little bit different dynamic, but I can see it. I mean, we're all. I mean, I don't want to say we're all, but me, for example, I'm just waiting for the heel turn at this point. I'm just waiting for it. Noob said, as for Raw Women's title match, Charlotte and Rhea do need some payback, and as Asuka, she definitely needs some time off after what she's been through. The pandemic crowds are slowly coming back. She needs to get her teeth fixed as evidence. The video she did on YouTube. Hopefully 6 months won't hurt the fans because it's Asuka. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Batman. We all know Orton's eventually gonna turn on him. But
Does
let's
Orton
hope
need
it's
to
not
turn
for a
anymore?
while.
No. No. I mean, he doesn't need to turn, but I mean, it's what he does. I mean, he's like MXG or Cody King. He doesn't need to turn, but he's going to. You're gonna see it anyway.
I
You
kind
kind
of
of don't
wanted
want to. Yeah.
I wanted Corey to keep teasing. Oh, he's gonna hit him with the RKO. Just because it's funny. Because I do like Corey and
Yeah. I mean, they're not gonna stay together. We all know this. It's probably gonna end. They might pick up the Raw Tag Team Championships. Maybe. I mean, they have to beat AJ Styles and almost for them, but I can see them winning the tag team championships, and as soon as they lose them, Randy Orton's turning. Which I wouldn't mind them getting titles together. I wouldn't mind that at all. Next up, we had Mansoor making his Raw debut against Sheamus. Honestly, a really good match. It wasn't really like the best match of the week, but it was a pretty good match for the U.S. title. Or the U.S. title was not on the line for this one. But Sheamus did end up picking. No, this ended in DQ.
yeah, Carrillo.
Humberto Carrillo came out.
It
Didn't we
really
see
make-
something similar to this last week, though? If I'm remembering correctly.
I don't remember what. I know he fought, but I don't remember if it was actually a match.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe it was.
remembering. I'm remembering a run-in by Carrillo last week.
Yeah, I think he attacked him before the match could begin because of
Gotcha.
Sheamus doing it to him before the week before.
Yeah.
I didn't think it made sense though because Mansoor was doing decent. So why interfere and then why not just come out there and distract Sheamus and then attack him after the match was over? But they can't make sense on Raw anyway.
So next up, we had Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus Naomi and Lana for the tag team championships. Shayna Baszler ends up hitting the Karafuda clutch to pick up the win after a distraction by Reginald. How'd you feel about this? I thought it was a fairly sloppy match.
Yeah, it was a match. It was there and not great.
DQ means Mansoor got his undefeated streak broken. Yes.
The best part was Naomi and Lana's entrance with the glowing and the lights and stuff, because that's a pretty cool entrance for the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I like them as a team, and especially more than Baszler and Nia. But yeah. Moving on.
Ty, I can read the sarcasm from here. So in the main event, we had Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman, but it ended up with Drew McIntyre just hitting claymores on everyone.
Yeah, it was an okay match between the two. Nothing special. Nothing.
Triple threats all around. We're
Oh,
just passing out triple threats.
yeah.
Reggie needs to stay on SmackDown, and I believe Naomi is going to break up from Lana. I mean, she probably needs to. Naomi is way better than Lana is. Lana's come a long way, honestly, from what she was, let's say, 6 months ago. Um, but Naomi, we all saw where she was in 2018. And yeah, she needs to go back to being a solo talent and honestly, probably being a champion again at some point in time in the near future.
Yeah.
Ty,
She's very good in the ring.
Ty said, I remember like 5 months ago when I said, wow, Nia and Shayna look like they have weird sexual tension. Now they've been champs for like ever. Ty with the 31 bits. Thank you. Thank you. So that was Raw. That was 3 hours of Raw.
Easily the weakest show of the week.
Easily. Easily. Not even a question. But Tuesday night we were saved by NXT. The first match of the night we had a Falls Count Anywhere match between Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Swerve Scott, which we do see the start of a new faction by Isaiah Swerve Scott in this match. This match was honestly very good, very very good match. A lot of spots that really stick on the memory. At one point, Isaiah Swerve Scott threw a full toolbox as hard as he could and barely missed Leon Ruff, which was a great shot because Leon Ruff showed great emotion towards it. These two have such good chemistry together.
Yeah.
This just felt like a 205 live match on a bigger stage. Because 205 Live kills it every time, realistically.
I haven't watched that.
Oh,
And-
205 Live?
Yeah,
I took
Never.
I took a little break from it. Right now, it's more of like a developmental show. It really doesn't have much relevance because if you look at it, the cruiserweight title is on NXT anyway. So, what are they fighting for? You know.
yeah.
So it's more of like a developmental show before the developmental show. So you have a guy like August Gray over there. Just a lot of guys that you probably haven't heard much about. Yeah, it's kind of like AEW Dark a little bit. But yeah, we did see a new faction get shown here. Which, did we get a name of the new faction yet?
I don't think so. Probably have a promo next week.
Most likely. I'm just reading to see if... Yeah, I don't see anything about a name right now. Next up, we had a squash match. We had Cameron Grimes versus Asher Hale. How did you feel about this match?
I like Cameron Grimes with the squash match, though. So you know.
I mean, I do think this was Cameron Grimes' best cave-in that he's hit.
Yeah.
This was the most impressive cave-in that I've seen him do.
The angle, the promo thing afterward, with more DiBiase.
Yes, more DiBiase. I really hope that Ted DiBiase becomes like his manager. I think that would be cool to see him come back as a manager. Basically, Ted DiBiase was saying that he bought out the entire club already. So, yeah. Who the fuck is Asher? Basically.
He was a new person. He was the jobber, basically.
Yeah, he was just
put there to help and probably get some in ring.
Yeah, what they would say in normal times is local talent. Let's see here. Next up, we had Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Ciampa and Thatcher pick up the win here in a pretty decent match. NXT, again, doesn't really do many bad tag team matches. Kind of like AEW. Tag team matches are very, very good in both promotions.
Yeah. If only the other two could get on board with that.
I mean, they
Yeah.
they need tag teams first. That's their that's their
Tag teams
thing.
that don't break up.
Exactly. Ty said Ciampa and Thatcher are so cool together. Yeah, I love the end of the match where Thatcher's on his knees and has this crazy look on his face, and Ciampa comes from behind him and like pulls his like face back and kisses him on the forehead. Yeah, they're two psychopaths. I love it. Thunderbird said very nice match. Absolutely. Next up, we had Karrion Kross out doing a promo. He declares his rule over NXT. He does get interrupted here by Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne. And then Finn Balor also returned to say that he should be next, and he goes on to hit the NXT champion, which caused a brawl.
Yeah. It was a okay segment.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed how Gargano and Theory came out, and they're the ones to lay out the champion.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you're gonna have a three-way, triple threat match or a four-way match. You think? Well,
I would think four-way. I mean, you have O'Reilly, Dunn, and Balor against Cross. I mean,
no,
all four.
I meant to decide who was gonna go against him.
Oh,
Like, is
I don't know.
Gargano gonna be in there, or is
I-
he's supposed to fight Bronson Reed?
yeah. I mean,
So-
I don't think Gargano's going to be in there. Maybe Theory. Maybe
Or do
Theory
you
has
see
nothing else to do.
Gargano losing the title to Reed and then going to be in that match to try and get the world title, the NXT world title.
Y'all ever wonder if someone stunk during a match? No, because the older generation used to be very open about it, and apparently Mick Foley was a very, very smelly man.
I mean, Yokozuna shit himself a few times. I mean, there's been a number of guys that have shit themselves during the match.
We also had one of the funniest promos that I've seen right before this, with Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory interrupting William Regal's meeting with Scarlett, and Austin Theory gets distracted. He's looking down at Scarlett, saying, "Those are huge. Are they real? They have to be real." But he was not talking about what we thought he was talking about after he was staring for at least a minute during this promo. The entire promo, he was just staring. But he was actually talking about her nails. Her nails are the biggest nails he's ever seen. And Johnny Gargano gets on him and says that he just can't touch people. I loved that promo. CM Punk pooped his pants in the middle of a match once. He did. There is a story about that. Snitsky stunk. Say that 5 times fast.
Didn't CM Punk have like food poisoning? I think that's the story.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. Well, Ty said, "Well, it makes sense for Theory not to be looking at her boobs because isn't he gay?" No, I don't think so. He was just dating a. I mean, he got hit in the Me Too movement. Noob said Austin Theory is making some weird friends in NXT. First it's Loomis, now it's Scarlett. This guy is funny. What you saw seems otherwise. Yeah, well, you saw the same thing with Ricochet, just even further. Moving on, we had Saray versus Zeta Ramir. Saray picks up the win here, and then of course Toni Storm's gonna interject herself as well. We also had Zoe Stark intersect herself. How'd you feel about this match?
It was okay, a little bit of a squash match, but not like an entirely bad squash match.
Yeah,
She got some offense in.
I agree with that. I mean, this was a forgettable match on the show, realistically. We had LA Knight versus Jake Atlas. Not a great match, honestly. The last little section that they had there, the last part that they had before the finish, I did enjoy that. I thought it was a cool way to finish the match, but I mean, it wasn't that great. Now Jake Atlas is Ty. He's open about it. You have anything on that match?
It was okay.
How are you feeling about LA Knight so far?
I mean, he's obviously good on the mic and in the ring. He's been okay. He hasn't really had a chance to shine. This was a squash match, so you get stuff in, but you don't.
Yeah, you don't see as much as you'd like to.
But yeah, he's good on the mic.
Yeah. I mean,
Obviously.
this wasn't
And
a complete squash. It was I would
No,
call it
no,
a competitive squash because
Yeah.
it was a squash match. I mean, let's be real about that. Alice did get a little bit of offense in, but he wasn't going to win. At no point in that match did you feel like he was going to win. Let's see.
You got the promo next from Phantasmo and then the Mercedes Martinez Gonzalez setting up next week's matches.
Yeah, Kushida versus Santos Escobar and Raquel Gonzalez versus Mercedes Martinez, which I really don't understand the dynamics of that. It seems
Yeah.
very complex.
The Kushida Santos Escobar match will be 2 out of 3 falls, so they should put on a good match.
They should.
I mean, hopefully Kushida keeps the title though.
Let's see. I don't want to miss any promos before the main event. But we did have the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships defended in a street fight. Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon versus The Way in a very good match that actually there was a lot of big moments in this match, a lot of
Big spots.
a lot of big spots. This match ends after Candice LeRae hits Shotzi Blackheart with brass knuckles and then hits a wicked stepsister onto a chair for the pinfall. This was a good match. This was a brutal match, but a very, very good match in general.
Yeah, I wanted Moon and Shotzi to keep the titles because I just feel like it was better to establish them as a team.
Yeah.
But The Way also needed a big win, so
I think
not
Candice
mad about
LeRae needed a title.
yeah.
I mean, she's been kind of shown as a dominant woman since she debuted. But she's never been able to finish. Kind of like Ember Moon before Ember Moon got moved up and before she won the NXT championship the first time. She was always that one that was extremely good but could never finish. But she always had Asuka in front of her. That was the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Candice LeRae has been typically the same type of way, but she does officially have a championship in NXT. And I also think Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, I think they would have a really good rivalry against each other as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see that. But that was NXT, arguably the show of the week. The other arguable show of the week would be AEW Dynamite. We had Blood and Guts. We have a lot to talk about here, which I'll actually talk about one thing first before we get into it. There was many people online mad that they bought tickets for this show and they had to watch an hour of taped footage. I actually looked into buying tickets to this show. I was thinking about going to this show. It was always advertised as a one-match show.
Yeah, it was advertised beforehand,
So-
before the tickets even went on sale. Only
Yeah.
5 people got refunds, though.
If anybody's mad about it, it's on them for not doing their research, not paying attention. It's been advertised as a one-match show for the longest time. You'd be mad? I mean, why would you
It
be
was
mad
announced-
if you bought the ticket? You
It was
bought the
announced
ticket.
on the site when you bought the ticket.
Mhm.
It wasn't
It wa-
just like, oh, we switched it at the end.
It was.
It wasn't a bait and switch.
Yep, it was announced when you bought the ticket. It's been announced by AEW every single time that they've talked about Blood and Guts that it's a one-match show. I mean, the fans are really lucky that they got to see free content when they got there on TV to wait for the match. I really don't understand why people were so mad. It's really on you. If you didn't know it was a one-match card and you went there expecting a whole show, then you're the problem, not AEW in this situation, because they made it very clear that it was a one-match show.
Tony Khan did come out and like talk to the people, and then he was like, if you want a refund, then come
And
see
only-
me in the back.
And only 5 people took advantage
Yeah,
of it.
5 people. The rest of the people were like, we knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
Why be mad?
Yeah, so I mean, it was really one person posting on Twitter and then that tweet basically going viral in the wrestling community.
People were probably like, oh, they didn't know, and then that's what they just took off with
And
it.
that's exactly what it was, and that's what made me the most mad when I was looking on all these wrestling pages, and I messaged you guys as well and said that I hated wrestling fans because I do at times like this. I mean, you had people posting on the pages talking negatively about it, and if you're talking negatively about that specifically, you clearly don't watch. Because if you watched, you would have known that it was a one-match card. You would have
If
known.
If they had never announced it, and just the day of the show, when you got there, it'd be like, by the way, this hour's taped.
That's understandable to be mad
Then
at.
you would be pissed, yes. Then it's reasonable.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
The fact that they announced it before it went on sale, when you were buying the tickets, it was on there.
And then the
And
weeks
every
leading
time
up
they
to it.
adver- Yeah. If you
Yeah,
didn't pay attention, that's your fault.
absolutely. That is not AEW or Tony Khan's fault. That is whoever bought the tickets and was upset about its fault. Those 5 people that got refunds, that's their fault. And I guarantee probably 2 or 3 of them probably knew that it was a one-match card. It was probably just that one guy or maybe 2 people.
Yeah, they probably were just like, I can get a refund? Do I still get to watch the show?
Oh, I do? Okay, I'll get a refund. Let me get my money back.
You know, I might have done that, just get my money back. And then went and bought souvenirs.
A little hustle there. So going into the show, this part was recorded. This is what the fans got to watch on the TV. So we had Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa. Bully Ray went off about this. Not the match itself, but Bully Ray went off because Michael Nakazawa was wearing the Impact World Championship. So he was saying that it was complete disrespect to the championship. A lot of fans' argument to that is heels don't carry their championships, which, yes and no. I mean, some heels do, but like guys like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns doesn't always carry his title. There's a lot of people that don't carry their titles. That's a heel, but none of those managers wear it around their waist. That's the difference.
Nakazawa had 3 of the titles.
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
on his shoulder, and then the Impact one around his waist.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
Free publicity for that title, so
exactly. That's my mindset. If you look at Impact's ratings, Lana first. Hello. If you look at Impact's ratings, they were at 124,000 people last week. 124,000. So, if you now go on to Blood and Guts had 1.24 million. That is a giant gap. That your title got seen by that many people that don't watch your product at all. That is great publicity for that.
yeah. People just like to complain.
Oh, absolutely. I hate it. I hate it so much. But in this match, the end of the match, we saw Michael Nakazawa taking the pinfall. This was a decent match. We kind of assumed when Michael Nakazawa was in the match, he was going to be the one that was taking the fall here. But it was after what happened after the match is what really matters here for storyline purposes. So the Young Bucks came out to distract Moxley and Kingston, and then they got attacked from behind by the Good Brothers. Anderson and Gallows hit Moxley with a magic killer. Nick Jackson hits a super kick to Moxley. And then Kenny Omega hits a one-winged angel on Eddie Kingston. Then Matt Jackson did a mock 3 count. So Kenny Omega says, I win.
Yeah, he's the cowardly heel. It was not the best match, but it was still a decent match.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad match by any means, but you kind
The
of knew what you
beginning
were
was
getting.
pretty funny too, with Don Callis saying, "Oh, Omega's not even coming. He doesn't care about this." Then attacking Kingston from behind and then starting the beat down.
Yeah, I love the heel work that Don Callis brings to the table to help Kenny Omega with. Because Kenny, I don't know how much... Kenny was a decent heel in New Japan, but he always had the Bullet Club behind him. And then he had the Elite behind him once the Bullet Club kind of had their division with Cody Rhodes versus Kenny Omega. But Don Callis brings a whole nother element to his regime, which does absolute wonders for this character. Kind of like Paul Heyman elevates Roman Reigns right now. Same type of thing. So next up we had Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall. Cody Rhodes defeating QT Marshall. We kind of saw that coming. This was a good match though. And then after the match, Anthony Ogogo comes out to assault Cody.
One shot to the
One
midsection.
shot. He's taking out everybody every week with one shot.
And then he put the Union Jack over him.
Yep. Let's see here. Next up, we had Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. I still find it weird that they're tagging together now. That they're magically friends. Why isn't Scorpio Sky with SCU?
He said he wanted to focus on his singles career. And
I know,
then
and now
he's working with somebody else.
Now he's with Ethan Page. They send a message to Sting and Darby Allin. How did you feel about this segment?
It was okay. It furthers the feud. They tossed Darby down the stairs. Looked brutal. But
Darby can take a bump.
yeah, and then they were giving us updates on his condition through the night. He's got a hurt elbow apparently, but he's gonna wrestle next week because he has a match. We'll get to that one. Next
up, we had a squash match, a pure squash match with Dr. Britt Baker taking out Julia Hart. Britt Baker made it look easy. She made it look like it was a complete joke, locking in the lockjaw and smiling at the camera as Julia is tapping out.
Yeah, this did what it was supposed to. It makes Britt look good so they can have her match at Double or Nothing against Sheeta, which I hope she wins. I like Sheeta, but Britt needs to win finally.
Britt Baker's character is on another level right now.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the MJF of the women's division right now.
Yeah, I'd put her a little higher in the pecking order because MJF isn't on level for the world title yet.
That's,
I mean,
I
his
mean,
promo work is great, but
after a
let
little
it,
bit, after what we talk about a little bit later, maybe.
yeah. But Britt definitely needs to be. There's no mid card title for the women, so yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely needs to be up there.
Yeah,
He needs
absolutely.
a title.
So next up, we had Varsity Blondes versus Jurassic Express versus The Acclaimed versus Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, aka SCU, who picks up the win, and they will now face the Young Bucks for the tag team championships.
I think we all saw that one coming with the
We
whole
did.
if we lose, we're done. So I think they are gonna lose and they're gonna feud with each other.
I can see that. I mean, both of them. We already know that Christopher Daniels is backstage personnel. He is an executive producer on the show. He has been hired as that position. Um, and then Frankie Kazarian, he's getting up there in age. He's also in his mid to late 40s right now. Um, he's probably going to start putting people over, and he's going to go out the door shortly after.
I'm not a big fan of the Acclaimed, but I did like their little entrance when they called them the Young Cucks. The Young Bucks called them that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Acclaimed. I'm not a huge fan of Max Caster's rapping every
Yeah,
week.
that was the only part I just thought that was funny. Usually it's just like, okay, shut up. Get in the ring. You're just going on too long now.
Uh-huh. So, we are going to be getting a rematch of the pay-per-view we are going to be talking about later. Next week, we are going to have Pac versus Orange Cassidy. That's actually going to be at Double or Nothing, not next week. Winner of that will face Kenny Omega for the world title.
This was a great promo between Cassidy and Omega.
Yeah, and I mean, it's weird to have Orange Cassidy in this light putting on a promo like this.
Because now you want to see both matches. You want to see Pac and Omega again, but you also want to see Omega versus Orange.
Yep, and I mean, we had I think Pac might have been Kenny Omega's last loss.
Yeah.
Singles loss, that is.
Omega went into that just like he's beat me before. He's really good, and he was just basically saying Orange has no chance. It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to be a rematch, Omega versus Pac.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the first Pac versus Orange Cassidy match a little bit later because it did happen at Revolution 2020.
I do think it will be Omega versus Pac, but they put
I
that
agree
little
with
bit
that.
of doubt in your mind.
I did like how Kenny Omega took Orange Cassidy's sunglasses and gave them to Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty
Like
funny.
I said, this whole promo was really good because now you build hype for whatever way it goes.
And the next promo we got was Miro informing us that he will be facing Darby Allin for the TNT Championship next week. I think Darby Allin finally loses this title.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it, even though I like Darby. But because Miro, the promo from Miro was really good too. He came out there and looked kind of like crazy, and he doesn't want to just.
Thunderbird says Miro will take the title off Darby because of his injury, with quotes. I mean, I think he's going to take the title off Darby because Darby and Sting are going to have another tag match together, this time against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, which has no need for the TNT Championship.
I think they're gonna have the match though, even though they have the stipulation if Darby can't compete.
Uh-huh.
And I like that Miro was like, I don't know, there's a match.
Yeah.
I don't want to win that way. I'm taking the title. But I always liked him. You liked him as Rusev, even though they shit on him a lot. Put him in stupid angles.
Now we get to the main event, And what a match this was. So we had the Blood and Guts match between Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. Sammy Guevara and Dax Harwood start the match.
They started off hot.
And they did start it off hot. And we had blood from the opening, basically.
This match definitely had blood everywhere. The ring was a mess. They were all a mess.
Yep.
No guts, thankfully, but blood, definitely.
Pinnacle did have the advantage, so every time a new person came in, Pinnacle would get the advantage. So Sean Spears was in next, so they started beating down Sammy Guevara until Ortiz gets into the ring, and then dynamics changed completely. In this segment, when these four were in the ring, Ortiz was coming in throwing the chair at everybody's head. He was just not hitting people. He was throwing a chair at everybody's head, which I absolutely thought was great. We did have Sammy Guevara hit Sean Spears with a Spanish fly as both were teetering on two separate sets of ropes.
That was a great spot.
That move was incredible.
Yeah, and that could have gone so wrong.
It
But
really could have.
They did it great.
Absolutely. Next in, we had Cash Wheeler of the Pinnacle. Again, one man advantage. They took, I guess I can say they took the lead. They took advantage again. Sammy Guevara did fight back, but Sean Spears was able to lock in a sharpshooter. Cash Wheeler hits Ortiz with a gory special into the steel, and Ortiz falls in between the cage and the ring,
Yeah,
which
that looked
brutal.
That looked bad.
I don't think that's what was supposed to happen. I think he was just supposed to fall on the mat, but he fell all the way to the ground, and he was stuck in between the cage and the ring. Yeah, that was rough. After this, we had Santana entering the match, which turns the tide once again. Let's see. Santana does get launched face first into a steel cage here. Sean Spears was beating down Sammy Guevara. And then Ortiz did some damage with the barbed wire he wrapped around his hand. Let's see here. Next in was Wardlow, who just took over.
Right. Took over. He was the big man, monster. Nobody could stop him, even though it was 3-on-1 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, he hitting power bombs. He was just destroying people until Jake Hager comes into the match. Both men were destroying people in opposite rings until they eventually look over, as both men were the only ones standing in their rings. We had Jake Hager draw a line in the sand. After Jake Hager drew the line in the sand, Wardlow comes over, and they honestly look like they were legitimately punching each other in the face. Like, these were some stiff shots.
This is definitely going to be a match down the road between them.
Mm-hmm. Wardlow ends up getting the advantage, throwing Hager into the steel over and over and over. Next up, we had MJF getting into the ring. Blood was everywhere at this point. We
all knew MJF was going to be the last one in.
Yeah,
the Weasley little heel, and he was going to hide behind everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible.
I liked him taunting Jericho, who was still on the outside through the cage.
Yeah, I mean, multiple guys here were bloody. I don't know if you saw the aftermath picture. I honestly should have saved it and put it on the stream.
Of Sammy?
Of Sammy.
Yeah.
Black eye, cut on his head, back was all scraped up. They went through some shit.
I think you shared it to...
I think I did share it to the chat. But we had Chris Jericho being the last man into the ring. Once Chris Jericho gets into the ring, Pinnacle gathers themselves in one ring. Inner Circle gathers themselves in the other ring. Once they're all gathered, they look at each other and they just run full speed and jump over the ropes and basically flying
Part was a little
tackle each other.
awkward because of the two sets of ropes they had to go through to get to each other.
Yeah, no, I can see that completely here.
We're gonna go full speed. Oh, we gotta stop and get through the ropes real quick. Hold on a second. But no, it was just a small little funny thing there, I thought.
Jericho introduced Floyd to the mix, which is his baseball bat, if you don't know, which really took the advantage here. Shawn Spears tries to climb away from Jericho, who gets locked up in the steel here and gets choked.
I was like, "Where are you gonna go? There's a
roof
on the cage.
There's a
You
roof
can't
on here.
escape."
This match, if you don't know, this was like War Games from back in the day. So the cage had it was an actual cell. It wasn't a cage like
Yeah,
War Games
I
is
think
now.
I like this one better, and they made it bigger, so
They did make it bigger.
you could actually do the moves. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
Sid trying to power bomb. Forget who it was, but he tried to power bomb somebody, and his knees hit the cage, and
Yeah, and I
Sid
mean,
dropped
people,
him.
people, they used to use that as a move. So they basically would do a pop up, but just a pop up. So they would run
the cage.
forward and throw them up at the cage, so they would hit the top of the cage. But this is taller, so they can't do that in this one, and they could actually do aerial moves in this match. So we did have Sammy Guevara hit a coast to coast with a steel chair as well, right into Shawn Spears' face.
That was very nice.
Sammy Guevara was just the star of this match.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he was the MVP of this match.
Yeah.
Every big spot was him. He did have one spot in this match where he was supposed to. It looked like he was supposed to do a springboard from one ring and get to the other ring, but it looked like he did like kind of like a roll. He misstepped, but
Yeah,
really,
there was a little bit of a botch, but thankfully he didn't get hurt.
yeah, I mean, with everything happening in this match, you kind of have to expect some sort of botch at some point in time. This match did have two, but that's really all they had. And this match was a vicious match. This match looked like an all-out fight. There was multiple points in the match where these men were actually throwing stiff shots at each other. I remember Ortiz and Dax going at it, and they just looked like they were legitimately fighting. There was nothing pretty about a lot of the stuff in this match. It just looked brutal, and it looked like it was a shoot fight. But we had MJF running away from Chris Jericho. He climbed up on top of the structure.
After Tully stole the key from the referee, beating him up.
Yep. Jericho followed MJF to the top, which their fight on top, it kind of made this match a little bit hard to follow because the camera was really only focusing
Yeah,
on
they
these
forgot
two.
about the action down in the ring.
Yeah, but whenever
at
they
one
would
point-
would do far shots so you could see everything, they were still fighting in the ring. They were still doing spots in the ring. Just when they were doing close-ups of Chris Jericho and MJF, we had no idea what was going on in the ring.
Yeah.
Jericho ends up locking in the Lion Tamer on top of the cage. MJF hits him with a low blow to get out of it, which after that, it just changed the whole dynamic of this match and pretty much was the finale of this match. MJF walks in the salt of the earth on top, bites him, stomps him,
Stomping his hand.
everything, trying to get him to give up because in this match you can only win if the other team surrenders.
Gives up or surrenders.
Yeah, so then MJF takes out his Dynamite Diamond ring that he's had now for 2 years and hits Jericho with it, basically knocking Jericho out. At this point in the match, I don't know if you noticed, Jericho bladed right here.
Yeah, he had the blade in his hand for like three minutes or something. 'Cause
Yeah,
he took it out early.
you could see him look. You could see when he took it out, but he had his hand clenched this whole time. And then after he gets hit, he kind of puts his head in between his arms, kind of like a kid sleeping in class. Um, and
I would
he
never have done that.
and he does blade himself here. So we did get some red from Jericho here, who seemed dazed and out of it. MJF picks up Jericho, walks him over to the side of the cage. And at this point, Sammy Guevara and Ortiz are staring up from outside, saying not to throw him off. They surrender. They quit. So Pinnacle does take the win over the Inner Circle to save Chris Jericho, but it didn't matter. MJF, after, still pushes Jericho off the structure, who landed on
Pillows and cardboard.
a cushioned area, which leads us to another conversation here.
People are bitching because it was so fake.
And that's
like-
the thing. You complained a couple months ago that Matt Hardy took a fall on the concrete and got a concussion. Wasn't nearly as high as this structure. Not nearly as high. And then when they do it right and they actually give padding to this fall and they were responsible with it, then you want to complain and say, oh, he landed on pillows. That wasn't a big spot at all. He's just trying to be like Shane McMahon. Like, nobody cares. Like, it's just ridiculous that this shows that wrestling fans are never going to be happy. Either you're going to be extremely safe or you're going to be not safe at all. Whatever you do, you're going to have complaints. Social media is a terrible place where people go to complain.
What I could have done is this shown him being thrown off and then not shown him, have the rest of the Pinnacle climb up there and celebrate with MJF. But
Yeah.
I am glad they did it safely. I'd rather have it look fake than have someone hurt, especially someone like Jericho who is older.
Yeah, and I mean, their production crew, they probably could have thought it out a little bit better
Yeah, not shown him landing in the...
to where, yeah, you didn't see him land. Maybe you cut to him eventually, but they showed him land, which maybe that was not the greatest thing to do. But again, this is a company that's 2 years old. Their production team's still completely new. These are all learning experiences.
Also, having the separate tiles is kind of a weird choice. Like, each
Yeah.
of
Yeah, they
so
had
why
the
not have it
cardboard.
be one piece.
Yeah, they had the cardboard in multiple different pieces, looking like what looked like metal. It looked like it was a metal, kind of like their on ramp.
You could have done the cardboard and then had like a thin, like some kind of
Something
thin
to hold
metal,
it together.
something that was like, just, I mean, it would have hurt him a little bit, but not.
Yeah.
been
No,
like
I get what you're
concrete.
saying. Yeah, but I mean, overall, this match was great.
Yeah,
This match was
I don't
great.
think it was a bad ending to the match. It just could have been done. The match was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good match. I can watch it again. And
Yeah, if you did not catch this match and you're in chat, I highly suggest you go watch this match. This was an incredible match. This is definitely one that people are going to be talking about for a while. This is on par with the War Games matches. Some say it's a little better. Some say it's not nearly as good. But you be the judge of that. I personally think it was on par with those matches. I think it showed a little bit more brutality. No, you didn't get to see somebody jump off the top of the cage and get caught by people down below. But this was a brutal match. That was a lot. It seemed a lot more violent than your typical War Games match. A
that's
lot
the
more
thing.
blood.
when they do the top people jumping off, and like there's always 8 guys or so standing there catching the guy. So what's the difference if he fell into cardboard and an airbag?
No, I completely agree. I don't think what
People
they
just
did
wanna
was
bitch.
wrong at all. exactly. Which that was my big complaint about. My only complaint about AEW was fans.
Yeah,
My
and some of the ones
complaints
bitching probably didn't even watch it. They just saw
exactly,
something online and their WWE
exactly.
marks, and
That's
they
the
just want to bitch
problem.
about it.
That's the problem. I mean, you
But
have a lot. If you look at Raw, Raw still picks up over 2 million every week, and it is the worst show. Everybody agrees that it's the worst show of the week. How is it still picking up 2 million? Because of WWE marks. That's how it does it. But
yeah,
you have those guys that don't watch anything else, that just talk bad about everything else. Um, yeah, I mean that's my only complaint about AEW was one, people complaining about their tickets and the show being a one match card. And number two is the people that were complaining about this fall, because one, you complained about Matt Hardy saying that was unsafe and irresponsible, but then they do it safe and responsible and you still complain. It's the same exact people complaining,
yeah.
which that's the biggest problem. But that's all I have to say about that. We do have a pretty stacked card next week, so we'll have some good things to talk about on Monday as well. But moving
I,
on,
well, one more thing for
yeah,
that match, I kind of would have loved it to be on a pay-per-view because I'm not a big fan of the picture-in-picture thing, and I wanted to see all the action. That's
I
only
agree
the
with that.
minor complaint about that.
I
But
agree with that to a point as well. I do love the fact that they do this as something that they believe is going to bring in more fans. If they put this on cable television, this could potentially bring more fans over. The hype that
oh,
it gets will
I
bring
totally
fans
get
over.
why they're doing it because they do a lot of these like
I agree
mini
that the picture
pay-per-views.
yeah, Bash at the Beach was the same way. The Jericho Cruise was the same way. They're all pay-per-view quality, but they're on basic cable television.
Because they don't do as many pay-per-views, so they do
No.
pay-per-views on TV.
Yep. Yeah, they do like mini pay-per-views on TV, which I think is great for them because they're going ahead and pulling in more viewers. And to prove that they're pulling in more viewers, their ratings were 1.24. And let's not only talk about that, they were the number one show on cable television on Wednesday night in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is huge because we had 5 NBA games that were also on. Yeah, AEW, this is the first time they have ever been the number one show on cable television, which is great for TNT. It is great for AEW. Kudos to both of them. Now, on to SmackDown from this past Friday night. It was Retro Night. A lot of people wanted to see the fist, and we did get a fist, but people are still unhappy about it because it was CGI. Again, people just want to complain. That's all it is. People just want to complain.
Yeah, who cares about that damn fist?
Make
Was it gonna make
SmackDown
anything
fist
better?
again. No.
You know, wherever they're keeping it, because I'm sure they have it somewhere, but it would have cost to transport it, and
Set it
it would
up
have done.
in the Thunderdome, which would it actually fit in the Thunderdome? Maybe, maybe not.
And they're what is you gonna hear? Oh, they have the fist back. That's gonna make you watch. That no, it wasn't gonna do anything.
No, at least they gave it to you CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, they still gave you a fist. You wanted the fist, they gave you a fist.
Yep.
So we had Roman Reigns kicking off the show. He reintroduces Jimmy Uso, the returning Uso brothers. So it looks like the bloodline is back to full capacity. They also have Seth Rollins on their side. They do a mock 10 count here to or 10 bell salute, sorry, about Daniel Bryan's career being ended in SmackDown, which is very disrespectful in certain ways because they do a 10 bell salute when somebody in wrestling passes away.
But it was
Great
funny
heel
though
move.
because Paul Heyman doing the bell instead of actually having the bell.
he was the bell saying ding, ding.
Also, for the throwback, Pat McAfee dressed as Vince McMahon when he used to do commentary was pretty good too.
I love
The,
Pat
the
McAfee.
powder blue suit.
Everything. I mean, this show was very good. Was it the best show of the week? No, that goes to NXT or AEW, still, but it was still great. SmackDown's been on a roll. I won't take anything away from SmackDown. They've been very good lately. Cesaro ends up interrupting, and then that also gets a sneak attack from Seth Rollins, and then we get Teddy Long.
Holla 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 playa.
Mm-hmm. And
Let's have a tag match.
he reveals that if Cesaro beats Rollins, he will challenge Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash. Yeah. Bees. Then we had the match of Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, which ends up with Jimmy Uso hitting Rollins with a super kick, getting involved in this match, which got Cesaro to wipe everybody out at ringside, and then delivering a neutralizer to Rollins for the win. So, Cesaro will be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, this was a good match, and even with the interference finish, so it keeps Rollins strong. You know, he didn't lose on his own, and it's gonna make for the better story because now you got one Uso not with Reigns.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
yeah,
he screwed up, or later on we get more of that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Backstage, Seth Rollins confronts Roman Reigns about the Usos costing him the win. He then threatens Reigns, so it looks like we might eventually get face Rollins versus heel Reigns. I mean, I think they're good together regardless whenever they face each other, so seeing them just swap here, I like it.
Oh, and Reigns had new music. He didn't have the Shield
He
music
did
anymore.
have new music. How did you feel about his music? I think it fits in pretty well.
Yeah, and he needed it. He needed to ditch the Shield music a long time ago, because
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was the Shield music, so you should have let go of that once the Shield broke up. You shouldn't have been the one. Well, one, not only did you keep the music, you kept the vest as well.
yeah,
Now you don't have the vest, so get rid of the music.
I know
Grav
Ty's
says,
glad he got rid
my
of the
sub
vest.
expired. That's all you have for now. That's sad. That's very sad. Let's see. Then we had Sami Zayn joining Teddy Long and Sonya Deville backstage. Teddy Long says that Sami Zayn is gonna go one-on-one with The Undertaker. But The Undertaker's retired. So he does announce a big 10-man tag team match for later in the night. Typical Teddy Long. And then we went back to Reigns' locker room, and Jimmy Uso told Roman Reigns that he won't be talked to like his brother and that he's not a bitch. I enjoyed this. This story is
good.
Their storytelling on SmackDown is way better than what's going on Raw.
Yep.
Not even close. But next
This
up we
might be
had
the best story in wrestling at the moment. The ones we review.
yeah. No, I think so. Which I actually just want to pose a question here because I had a conversation. I know this is getting a little off topic, but I want to know chat's opinion as well on this. I had a conversation with somebody earlier. So the PWI Top 500 list comes out in August. So we are just 2 months away, well, 3 months away from getting that issued out. Now, there is really two people that are in the contention for the number one spot. We have Roman Reigns being the best thing in WWE by a long shot. And then you have Kenny Omega, which is taking over the wrestling world, winning world titles in every promotion. And you have even more people calling him out. We just had Jay White call out Kenny Omega because he wants to face him for the never open weight, which is another title. Kenny Omega, it's the only title in New Japan that Kenny has not won. So it looks like we may get that as well. But do you think that Roman Reigns will be able to get the number one spot over Kenny Omega, with Kenny Omega being able to travel company to company and be on TV multiple days a week, multiple pay-per-views in different companies? Do you think Roman Reigns has a shot to be ranked as number one this year?
He has a shot, but I don't think he will. I think Omega is, like you said, he's doing so much, and he's not having any bad matches really that I've seen.
No, all of his matches really have been very, very good. My only thing is, I do think Roman Reigns would probably be able to win it if he was. Let's say we switch roles here, and Kenny Omega is dominating one company, and Roman Reigns is now using his same character, but he's able to travel. Then I think Roman Reigns would be able to take the number one spot. But because of Kenny Omega being able to travel company to company and be able to work, right now he's working 2 to 3 nights a week, not including pay-per-views, on cable television, holding 4 titles. I just don't see him losing that. And like I said, I'm only bringing this up because I had a conversation with somebody about it. He was saying that there's no way anybody's going to take Roman away from that number one spot. And I personally think that Kenny Omega has just as much right to the number one spot, if not more, than Roman Reigns does.
Yeah, I would be fine with either one, but I think Omega. Just because he can do so much more, and Reigns is only on SmackDown.
Which, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that that's how we have to kind of consider this, that Roman Reigns, you're stuck in one brand. You're stuck at 1 day a week. But that's where we're at right now. Chat didn't say anything about it, so I think Chat agrees. So, next up we had Ruby Riott versus Carmella. Carmella picks up the win with the code of silence after we had a lot of pin transitions here, and then a pin transition turned into the code of silence, which got Carmella the win. I like the finish of this match. That's really all I liked about this match, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest, I took a phone call during this match, so I missed most of it.
You didn't miss much?
I didn't rewind it. Yeah, that's why I just this match isn't going to be that great anyway.
Nope.
I like both of them, and Ruby is the better wrestler, so she should have won, but they're going to push Carmella more.
Mm-hmm. No, you didn't miss much here. Next up, we had Bayley coming out to the ring for a promo. She was having a celebration of women's champions, running down champions like Alundra Blaze and Jacqueline. And then she gave a backhanded comment, a compliment to Bianca Belair, which got Bianca Belair to come out to the ring. They end up having a scuffle here, which Bayley gets the one up.
It was an promo, nothing new, but it got the point across, and this match should be good because both of them are great wrestlers.
Yeah.
And
I
look forward
think it's going to be a very good match. I think this is my dark horse pick for match of the night for Backlash.
And I hope they keep the belt on Bianca. Let her have a good run.
I don't think they're taking the belt off Bianca right now. Next up, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler, and we would not have a throwback SmackDown without Dolph Ziggler picking up a loss. So Mysterio gets the win here with a cradle in a mediocre match, honestly.
Yeah, I. You
I
think Dominic and Ray are gonna take the titles from them at
probably.
Backlash?
I
Yeah,
think they're
I
only
feel
going to
that.
do that so it can be father son tag team
Yeah,
champions for a
they're
little bit.
hyping that up. No father son has ever won the titles.
Yeah, I mean, I see them doing that. But I think that's. I mean, you have nothing going on with the tag team division. You could literally do anything with the tag team division right now, and nobody would give a shit because you've done nothing with them. And that's on SmackDown and Raw. That's not just one brand. The main roster tag team divisions are just god awful. Especially
Yeah.
if you look at AEW and you look at NXT, which have great tag team divisions. Even if they don't have a lot of great tag teams, their pairings
They have
have
actual
great tag team.
teams,
Yeah, they have
not just
great
random.
matches in general. Next up, we had Tamina versus Reginald. How did you feel about this?
It was nothing.
It was
Nothing to
more
write home about.
more comical than anything.
Yeah, I mean, you knew Tamina was. I mean, it wasn't gonna end in a fair fight, and you knew Tamina, or Naya, and them were gonna get interfered as soon as she went to beat him. Just nothing. Like the women's tag division's just as bad as the men's.
Yeah, basically, which is terrible. Thunderbird says there's not enough serious tag teams in WWE. There's not enough serious tag teams because they break up every serious tag team they have. I mean, and that goes back the past couple of years. You look at Enzo and Cass. You look at American Alpha. You look. I mean, there's tons of them that they just randomly just broke up for no reason. I mean, you have Heavy Machinery and and then you have American Alpha, but then you have the two guys that they kept, Otis and Chad Gable, now in a tag team. It's just they break up tag teams for pointless reasons.
Yeah, I hope Tamina and Natty win. They're a better team at least than.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't care. I don't care who
I
wins.
don't care either in the end, but
Unfortunately,
I'd rather have Baszler go back to being a single. And I'd rather have Naya go to NXT and train some more. I don't hate Naya, but she definitely needs some training so she's not hurting people as often as she has. I know
Yeah.
it's been a little while, so maybe she has.
with the layoffs, the numbers aren't there. I'm not gonna blame the layoffs because this has been happening since like 2015. Actually, it's really been happening for longer than that. This
That's
isn't
another
really a
reason that
layoff thing. This is just a Vince McMahon thing that he doesn't like tag team wrestling. He doesn't respect tag team wrestling.
that's another reason they need to keep RK Bro together for a
I
while.
mean, this goes all the way back to the Rockers with Shawn Michaels and Jannetty. I mean, he just breaks up every tag team because he thinks that he's going to get one star out of it, but you're really not doing anything. Every now and then, yes, you get a Shawn Michaels, but it's not every tag team, especially tag teams that grew up on the indies together and then they come to WWE and you try to break them up. It's just stupid. Next up, we had that the 10-man tag team match that Teddy Long went ahead and made. So we had Apollo Crews, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Otis versus Big E, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Street Profits. This was kind of underwhelming.
Clusterfuck. Too
Yeah.
many people.
Mhm.
And
They made it look
few-
better back in the day when Teddy Long was the GM.
And the heel team, I don't care about Corbin.
I don't
Otis
care
and
about-
Gable are okay. Sammy's good, but
The only person on that team that I care about is Sami Zayn.
yeah, I mean, Apollo's been better, but I don't really like the new character, the whole Nigerian prince thing, and you could have just made him a heel and not give him the accent.
Yeah.
But then the heels pick up the win, and I thought
I did like them having Corbin picking up the win with an end of days. I did like that because out of all these people, I do believe that King Corbin has the biggest upside right now. I think
NAW Universe Nerd Acumen Wrestling.
Rated, thanks for the host. King Corbin, I think, should have had a world title a long time ago. I think when he had the Money in the Bank, he should have never gotten punished. That's a whole nother conversation. For the reason he got punished, I really don't think he should have for speaking up. But that's, like I said, that's a whole nother conversation. Corbin really should have had a title by now. Honestly, with the Lone Wolf characters, when he probably should have got it. Or right after he won King of the Ring, you probably should have done something then. But they did nothing with him, and you now have a played-out King gimmick that's been going on for about 2 years.
You could have made this a 6-man tag and eliminated Gable and Otis from the heel team and Street Profits from the. But don't get me wrong, I love the Street.
Rated said he's going to be honest. He didn't know if there was a podcast with it being Mother's Day. Don't hate me. Well, there was a schedule posted, and we were on there.
I love the Street Profits, but this would have if you just trimmed it down, it could have been a better match.
I agree completely.
Give the Street Profits something else to do.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the tag team division is rough. Street Profits is a shining light there. New Day is a shining light. Hopefully you have the Usos being a shining light again eventually.
I really want them to win the titles and then be with Reigns still. And then have all three of them have the belt.
Well, that brings us to our next segment, the last segment of this show, the what closed the show. So Roman Reigns was out in the ring, and he had an ultimatum for Jimmy Uso, basically saying, and I quote, "Fall in line or take your ass home." Jimmy Uso thought this was hilarious. And then torn by the decision in front of him. Would he join his brother Jay, or would he stand on his own? He did not make his decision because we had Cesaro come out and lay out everyone. Everyone. How'd you feel about Cesaro coming out and taking out the Usos and Roman Reigns at the same time?
Well, I like that they staggered it a bit. Like, Reigns was alone in there, so he took him out quickly, and then Jay ran back, and then you had Jimmy outside. He was gonna leave, but then he finally decided to help his family, even though he's conflicted with them right now. So it was great storytelling there, and it made Cesaro look really strong, even though I don't think he's winning the title.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say unfortunately because I love what Roman is doing right now.
It's unfortunate because Cesaro deserves the title.
Yeah, Cesaro's...
I love the Reigns character right now, and I want him to keep the title. And like I said, I want the Usos to have the other title so it can be like...
I really think the only way that Roman loses the title right now is a triple threat that somebody else takes the fall in.
Yeah. Also, that goes back to earlier... Dominic and Ray, I think they win the titles, and then the Usos take the titles from them.
Which I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Ty, you said, was that about our show, or was it about what's going on in chat right now? So that wraps up this week in wrestling. Yeah, this was a week. This was a week. The upside, obviously, Blood and Guts. Obviously, NXT. The downside, what we look forward to every Monday with sarcasm. Yeah.
I would put the Reigns, Cesaro, and Uso stuff up there with top two.
Yeah.
The rest of SmackDown was
I mean, this was
to good.
I mean, I enjoyed everything that involved Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and the
Usos
Bloodline.
and Reigns.
Yeah. Thunderbird says, I can't wait for Monday Night Football. Yeah. Yeah, me neither. Soon. We're coming up to it. Then we can finally forget about Raw on Mondays, which I typically do anyway, and then rewatch it so I can fast forward through things I don't want to watch. But yeah, that, like I said, wraps up this week in wrestling. Did anybody in chat have anything to say about this week that we did not already bring up or that we brought up and you would like to discuss a little bit further before we get into our pay-per-view of the week, which is going to be AEW Revolution 2020, which did win pay-per-view of the year in 2020. Rated has something to say. Rated, you didn't get here until it said 1 hour and 27 minutes into it, so I really don't think you have much to say. The model pictures of you are sexy AF. Thank you. I
Did
appreciate
anything
it.
happen on Impact this week? Worth noting? I
Uh,
don't watch it.
Not necessarily. I mean, we had Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers in a 6-man tag team match that they ended up picking up the win. Kenny Omega actually did not pick up the pinfall. Gallows did. So, but yeah, I mean, Kenny Omega's actually showing up every Tuesday, which is great for. It's great for Impact, even though their ratings aren't showing it. Like nobody from AEW is going over and watching Impact, which sucks for them, but it is what it is.
All right, on to Revolution then.
And I will change my picture. Boom. There we go. AEW Revolution.
Revolution.
So, in this, the opening match on, I guess you can call it on the buy-in, the first match was a women's tag team match. I don't want to talk too much about it because this match was part of the reason that people were saying that AEW's women division was terrible. This match was very, very rough to watch because Britt Baker did get a concussion in the beginning of this match. She lost her sense of direction and forgot who was her tag team partner and everything like that. So it was just a rough match in general for the women's division.
I think their women's division isn't great storytelling so far, but they have great wrestlers.
I think it's gotten a lot better in the past year, to be honest.
Yeah. Before it was just like, okay, you and you go out there and have a match.
Yeah.
You and you. There's no story to it. Just you and you do it.
No, absolutely. I think they've gotten a lot better since they moved away from Nyla Rose and they moved away from Riho. I think since Sheeta has had the championship, they've gotten a lot better. And the undercard's gotten a lot better. Because you have Chris Statlander, Penelope Ford, Britt Baker. You have... it's so loud. Mountain Nerds with the raid. We're getting raided, so give me a second because it's really loud.
Welcome, Mountain Nerds and Raiders. I have some clear thoughts.
How is it going? I can't hear you right now, so we're just silent.
No, I'm talking.
Put your hands. All right, now it's
Snow
silence.
Spider, thanks for joining us.
How's it going, Snow Spider? We are talking about AEW Revolution 2020 at the moment. Taking it back. Locksteady, how's it going? Why are you laughing, bud?
I think he was laughing at what Snow Spider said.
Oh,
This is
this is a raid. Put your hands up. I put my hands up. I was shaking a little bit. Yeah. Thank you Mountain Nerds. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, if you like wrestling, go ahead and hit that follow button because we talk about it every Sunday night.
And if you like video games, we have that content too. Go ahead and follow us
Absolutely.
for that, and we have all kinds of content on here. Different things for different folks.
So moving on to the next buy-in match, we had SCU taking on the Dark Order. This was after SCU's Tag Team Championship run. We did have Dark Order picking up the win. This is when they were teasing the Exalted Ones, so it had not been announced yet that rest in peace Brody Lee. He was not in the company yet.
Welcome Chunk the Hut and Co-op.
Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Chunk ICU. I like your guys' emotes. I like those emotes. Let's see. This was a mediocre match, but it was a buy-in match. We had Colt Cabana making a debut as well in this match to join Dark Order. No, to join SCU here, which eventually he does join the Dark Order. But that was your buy-in. Moving on to the opening match on the card, which was actually kind of it's kind of a doozy. It's probably the worst match on the card, honestly. We had Dustin Rhodes versus Jake Hager. How did you feel about this match?
It was a decent opener. Not the best match, like you said, probably one of the worst ones, but on the card. But still not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you still had Dustin Rhodes was being able to show what he could actually do. This is fairly fresh into his AEW career, so he was still showing, hey, I'm not just Goldust. This is what I can actually do in the ring. So he was kind of out to prove something.
This was Hager's first match in AEW, right?
This was Hager's first match.
I mean, he did it on as Jericho's bodyguard type inner circle guy.
Yes, and this match actually started out with Dustin Rhodes stealing a kiss from Jake Hager's wife.
Yeah, that was a little weird because he was supposed to be the face.
But yeah, we had Jake Hager picking up the win. They weren't going to have him lose here, debuting to be the powerhouse for the inner circle.
Yeah.
Next match, we had probably I can't even say best match on the card or best singles match on the card, but this was a great match. We had Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. Just hearing those names now and thinking about where they are right now in the company and in wrestling in general. Really sorry, guys, but I'm going to get going because I'm not very interested in wrestling, really any sports. Please don't take offense. Love you guys. Have a great night. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not for everybody, and sports aren't for everybody. But yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. No offense taken at all. This was a great match, though. We had a Spanish fly here. This was 205 Live wrestling at its finest.
What 205 could be.
True.
They
It's
gave
what
us a good
205.
spotlight.
It's what 205 Live was at one point with Pac as the champion.
Yeah. This great match. Both these guys are the future of AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, Darby's a champion right now, but he could probably hold the world
Rated
title,
said he's
and
gonna leave because he's not interested in you. Tell him off right now.
I'm just gonna ban him.
Yeah, ban him for like 5 minutes. But so moving on, we had the 2020 not tag team match of the year. We had the 2020 match of the year. We had Hang Mega versus the Young Bucks. What a match! I love this match. I have watched this match back probably. I've probably seen this match now like 15 to 20 times. This is arguably my favorite match of all time. It was very fast-paced, very... I don't even want to say hectic. but the storytelling in this match was incredible. A lot of this match, people really thought that the Young Bucks were going to take the win here, and that Hangman Page was going to turn on Kenny Omega. But that is not what we got. We did get a tease of that a few times. Hangman Adam Page looked like he was going to hit a buckshot lariat on Kenny Omega, which he did not do. Kenny Omega ducked it, and then he hit Matt Jackson with it. But this match was great. You had a very close near fall of Kenny Omega taking a pin. He kicks out at 2 3/4. And then the Young Bucks grab his hands and hit Kenny Omega's old tag team finishing move with Ibushi. The golden trigger. They hit that, and you think that was the end of the match, but Kenny Omega no-sells it, kicks out at barely a 1 count, and the roof blew off the stadium. Absolutely incredible pop for that. Kenny Omega hops up on his knees and he's punching the mat. The crowd was completely into it, which made this moment that much better. But yeah, we did have, after a couple more close finishes here, Kenny Omega was injured at the shoulder, so he was not able to hit the one-winged angel, but it did not matter at all. Hangman Adam Page hits a buckshot lariat for the win. 30-minute match, which was 30 minutes of pure brilliance. There's a reason why this match was the 2020 match of the year in all of pro wrestling. So this was absolutely great. If you have not seen this match, this is my favorite match of all time, arguably. Go watch this match.
I mean, you have 4 of the best in wrestling at the moment, and you knew this was going to be a match to begin with, and a great match to begin with, and the storytelling was good too, because they both sides wanted to win, but they didn't want to hurt each other because they're friends. But then they put it all in on the line anyway.
Yeah, this match, from the build up to the storytelling of the match in the match itself, the storytelling leading up to the match itself, everything that happened in the match, wrestling wise, was amazing. And then even the finish was something that nobody really saw coming. Nobody really thought that the Young Bucks were going to lose this match. We all kind of assumed Hangman was going to turn heel. He was going to cost them a match, and the Young Bucks were going to win. But that's not what we got. So a big surprise. This did, like I said, get the 2020 match of the year in PWI and Wrestling Observer. Just a golf clap to that one.
Yeah,
amazing match.
To be fair, he still hasn't turned heel.
No, he hasn't. Kenny Omega's the one that's heel now, and so are the Young Bucks. So, yeah. I mean, you had all 4 of these guys were faces during this time. Hangman was the only one that really was questionable. But now, Hangman's the only one that's a face. So, yeah. AEW has been great at storytelling in general. And this leads us to another reason why people were so down on the AEW's women's division at this point in time. Because how do you follow that match up? You can't follow that up. A 30-minute war of beautiful art. And then you have the AEW Women's Championship right after it, knowing they're not going to live up to that with Nyla Rose and Chris Statlander.
And Statlander had the flu, so,
And she had the flu.
Went, but, she couldn't go full.
And they showed that they really didn't have much chemistry. It was a rough match in general, but I also think it was better than what people say, because after watching it back again, it's not a bad match. But
both of them are great.
But again, how do you follow up a 30-minute match of the year? It's impossible for anybody to do. Unfortunately, they were put in that scenario. Um, you guys are talking about strands and admin stuff, so I'll leave that alone. But yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
any match
would have been
following
able
this one is
to.
gonna look great.
Yeah, even if they put, let's say, the next great match on this card was Pac versus Orange Cassidy. If they put that match there, I still don't think it would have lived up to what it actually was.
Yeah,
But
the crowd was gonna be tired after that.
yeah,
Needed a little bit of a break.
you need a little bit of a break. You need to go to the concession stand, go to the bathroom, and get ready and buckle down for the rest of the show because you still have a lot of good matches to go.
That's the problem with stacking the card with great match, great match, great match,
Oh,
okay match.
that and I will never complain about that. Give
No.
me great match after great match. Give tag team wrestling 30 minutes. Give the New Day and the Usos 30 minutes, please. Just do it. I mean, Hell in a Cell they did, and look how that turned out. But moving on after this match, which was kind of rough, people were still kind of turned off. We had Cody versus MJF, which had a great story leading up to it.
This might have been the best story. I mean, you can argue the
Arguably.
Young Bucks, Omega
Yeah.
stuff, or in Page stuff, but this one, story-wise, was up there too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. This story was great from MJF, kind of using Cody as a learning tree and them being good friends, to turning on him, and leading up to this match. The storytelling was great. But I do think that the fans really weren't as into this match. And I think that it was just a different style. These two guys they're not fast paced, high impact wrestlers. These are two tacticians going to work. They're very technical wrestlers. This was a very technical matchup. I personally, after watching it back again, I thought it was an extremely good match.
Yeah, they're both great wrestlers.
But
MJF's
again,
very much going to be the future.
I think after watching it, when I watched it the first time, I really think that I was just so hyped up by that tag team match. Because, like I said, that was probably one of the greatest matches that I've seen. So I was probably still extremely hyped up from that. And I really didn't come down until the end of this match. But the pay-per-view picked me back up again after this match. We had Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Pac, we all know how great he is. Orange Cassidy, nobody took him seriously at this point in time. Orange Cassidy was not as known as he is right now as a great wrestler. You guys are
Was
still
this
talking about that.
Cassidy's first match?
This
in-
was... I don't know if it was his first match. It was his first pay-per-view match. I do know that. Because no, it wasn't his first match. His first match technically was the Battle Royal at All In.
Yeah, I meant single match, but yeah, okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to give an answer because I don't know for sure. But this match, this was a time in Orange Cassidy's career where everybody thought he was a joke. Everybody thought he was nothing more than a comedy wrestler. Unless you watched him previously in PWG or anything like that, then you knew what he could actually do. Because I had seen a match of his, so I knew that he could actually wrestle. I just didn't know if AEW was going to give him the shot to actually wrestle. But like I said, a lot of people didn't know Orange Cassidy was actually a very, very good wrestler. This was his coming out party by far. He did not win this match, but they both looked damn good.
He came out very strong. Yeah, I knew nothing about the guy except for the little bit that I'd seen on AEW before
Yeah,
this.
that he has a jean
thought he was a
jacket
joke,
and
and
glasses, puts
like-
his hands in his pockets. I mean, yeah.
It's amazing what he can do with his hand in his pocket, doing those leaps over the top ropes and landing safely still.
No, it's absolutely incredible the stuff that Orange Cassidy does, and this match proved to everybody that Orange Cassidy is a serious wrestler. As much as he is comedic relief, he is a great wrestler.
And then you had the Lucha Brothers come out and attack Best Friends.
Yep.
This is before they were the Death Triangle, but
Yep.
like week later is when a week
Yeah.
or two.
And then a little bit after that, we had COVID shut everything down. So we really didn't get much into Death Triangle like we would have liked, but this was the start of Death Triangle. And then on to the main event of the evening, AEW World Championship. First ever world champion Chris Jericho facing Jon Moxley. Chris Jericho at this point had held the title for an extremely long amount of time. He ends up losing the title here in a decent match. The story was very good. You had the Inner Circle interfering in this match. But overall, this was a very good match. But like I said, this was very good long-term storytelling. This is all the way back at All In when Jon Moxley debuted as a complete surprise. Nobody knew he was going to AEW. Nobody even had it as a thought in their mind he was going to show up. He showed up, attacked Chris Jericho first, and then attacked Kenny Omega. But this really started their feud there. So great long-term storytelling. Jon Moxley picking up the championship, and he becomes the second ever AEW World Champion, which there have, at this point, have only been 3 world champions in AEW.
Yeah, and the whole thing was he couldn't see because his eye was messed up. I forget how he got messed up though.
He got stabbed in the eye a couple weeks before by Jericho. They took a screwdriver to his eye, so he was wearing an eye patch for a couple weeks.
And then he revealed that he could see the whole time because he dodged the Judas effect.
Yep.
Elbow.
Late into the match, he wore an eye patch for the majority of this match.
Yeah. I'm still not the biggest fan of that as Jericho's finisher, but I understand why he does it because lion salt and that is a little harder to do at his age.
Yeah.
Even though he breaks it out once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Judas effect.
I don't hate it. It's just...
I do like Andrade hitting it better. Andrade hits it a lot better. He uses that as a regular move, but Andrade hits it very well. Chris Jericho, over time, he's starting to hit it better. He's been hitting it better lately. I guess really the past year he's been hitting it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, when he first debuted, it wasn't that crazy.
Yeah. Very good pay-per-view overall, though. Like,
that's an understatement.
Was this their first one as AEW?
This was not. We did have Double or Nothing before this.
All right, second one then. But
this was their second.
Yeah, understatement.
This was their third. This was after Full Gear.
No.
So they had Double or Nothing, Full Gear, and then they had Revolution. But yeah, this did win pay-per-view of the year for 2020. Outlasted any WWE pay-per-view, which is extremely rare, and it outlasted Wrestle Kingdom again, which is extremely rare because you either get Wrestle Kingdom or you get a WWE pay-per-view as pay-per-view of the year. So for you not to get any of those and to get AEW for the first time ever, absolutely incredible for them. Big stepping stone. But yeah, this is overall, if you did not see this pay-per-view, absolutely go back and watch it. You have multiple 5-star matches here. You have Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. I would give that probably 4.5 stars. The tag team championship match, can't speak highly enough about it. I would give it 10 stars out of 5 if I could. Honestly, amazing match. And then even moving on, Cody versus MJF was great. Probably another 4.5-star match. Pac versus Orange Cassidy, for what it was and what you were expecting, another arguably a 5-star match. And then moving on to Chris Jericho versus John Moxley, another very high ranked match.
And,
This pay-per-view overall was just incredible.
and the other two matches were still decent.
Yeah, they weren't bad matches by any means. I mean, the women's championship match, Nyla Rose and Chris Statlander, not bad. I would never say that it's a bad match. It was just hard to follow up. Arguably the greatest match of the decade,
Yeah.
which
Then
did
you had,
get which did get match of the year for this year. So I mean, you kind of get what you get in that scenario. They were given 30 minutes, and let me see how much time the women were given. They were given 12. It was 12:45 after a 30-minute match. So, you really didn't have a ton to work with, and then the next match had 25 minutes. MJF and Cody. Even Pac versus Orange Cassidy was 13 minutes. The shortest match on the card was a great match at 5 minutes, which was Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. Incredible how that works. They really put out for all 5 minutes of that match.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was AEW of Revolution 2020. Travis, you have that on DVD, don't you? I know you started picking up AEW DVDs. But yeah, this was amazing. I had fun going back and watching it. I'll probably do it again in the near future. Just because it's great. No complaints about that whatsoever. I know a lot of the times when we talk about these pay-per-views, we do these rewind, these recap rewinds, or however we're gonna word it. We really talk about like one or two good matches, and then we're like, oh, this was okay, and this was okay, this was okay. But this, we didn't say that once. There was not one okay match. They were all good matches. Are you pretty much on the same wave there?
Oh yeah, this is a great pay-per-view. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
I'm not sure what we are going to do. Actually, next week we're not going to do a retro review because we have the pay-per-view. So we are going to do the Week in Wrestling next week, and we will talk about the pay-per-view in depth, which is WrestleMania Backlash. Should be something.
Is it next week?
It's the 16th. It's a week from today.
All right.
Yeah, so we will not be having the podcast on Sunday. We will be pushed to Monday. As long as you're good to go on Monday, I'll be good to go on Monday.
I should be.
And then, yeah, we'll be talking about the Week in Wrestling and also talking about WrestleMania Backlash. So, Trevor, do you have any final words?
Let's hope Raw is better this week, but hopes iron high.
And I just want to point this out. I want to give go ahead, pat yourself on the back right now. I'm patting myself on the back. We ended this at exactly 2 hours.
Nice. Remember to join us for the rest of the week.
Schedule
Trav
is
Wednesday,
on
probably
the Facebook
doing
page.
Resident Evil. Cody's tomorrow. I don't sure what you're doing yet. It says to be decided, right?
Yeah, I'm having troubles with my GTA RP place. I'm having
Travis.
rendering issues still, so we'll see. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure Travis is doing Resident Evil Village again
On
on Wednesday.
Wednesday, yep.
If you want to get caught up, he has that on YouTube with all of our other stuff, so you can see his progress so far and be ready for what he does on Wednesday. Thursday, of course, is nOw, and probably a big card like it was this week because we was only doing one night of nOw.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday, I think Locke is playing It Takes Two with Smalls. I think that is his plan. as far as I know.
Uh-huh.
If he's still here.
Have you played that off stream, Travis? Or have you only played what you played on stream? I'm assuming he probably played a little bit more and recorded it, so it's probably gonna go on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube already.
I think he said he was only playing it on stream, but I could be wrong.
That would be so hard to do.
Oh, that's what he said he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm only
He
playing
has
on stream.
kids. Oh, like you, he has kids and a
Yeah, I
wife,
know, but that's
so-
still so difficult because like especially after you played those 3 hours, like the next night after everybody goes to sleep, I'm gonna want to be like, okay, I want to play.
Yeah, I haven't got it yet. I just finished Biohazard because way behind on games, but I will be getting it, and I'll probably want to just play it for hours.
You're only about a decade behind.
Yeah. Well, I have other stuff to play too. I'm gonna start Miles Morales next, and then probably Returnal.
I'm avoiding spoilers and don't have time to play more. Well, that's good. At least you don't have the time and you're keeping I'm watching our channels, other shows like this. Yeah, I mean, at least you're keeping yourself busy, so you're not wanting to play as much. Cause yeah, like I said, that would be rough. Cause you've gone now. By Wednesday, it'll be 5 days since you played.
And Locke did confirm that he is playing.
It Takes Two
with Smalls unless
on
she ditches
Saturday.
him. And then Friday, there's nothing planned at the moment that I know of, but keep an eye on social media because Gravity has. Oh, and no, he's going camping this week, so he won't be doing one Friday. That's his plan at least. So probably nothing on Friday unless someone decides to just do a random stream.
Yeah, and I don't know what I'm doing Friday yet. If it's open and I have nothing better to do, I'll hop on. But we'll see. I also don't have the schedule in front of me, so I don't know if anything's booked.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I was just going by what I think Trav said.
Once a week until I finish. Yeah, I mean it's a good plan. It's just hard to get into a groove like that. It's only 10 to 12 hours. So you can finish in 4 or 5 episodes. You do a lot of looking at scenery, so it might take you 13 to 14 hours.
And I did just pull up the schedule, and yes, there is nothing on Friday.
Rated. Do you not pay attention at all?
Oh, I did forget the one. We had the music podcast on Tuesday. With Justin and Travis. They are going to be discussing the Van Weezer album review.
Gravity says, no, it's only Thursday. Rated said, no, I don't pay attention to anything anymore. We know. You only show up to these streams. When they're about an hour and a half through. But yeah, Gravity, you admire the environment. Yeah, I mean the pictures that you posted everywhere, they're great pictures, especially the goat head one. No, the first castle one. That's probably the best picture he took realistically. See if I support you, then nothing's changing. Nothing's changing there. I appreciate it.
Thanks everybody that did show up, and for the raid from Mountain Nerd and everybody.
Yeah, if anybody's still here from that raid, thank you guys. We're just pretty much tuning out here. Thank you guys for coming. Trevor, you already said goodbye and already said everything. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. I will be on doing something. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but you'll see. You'll see in due time. Peace.
The following announcement has been paid for by the